And after some early years in karting, Formula 4, Formula Abarth, you made the step to Italian F3. At that time, as Mr. Schiattarella told me, this was a very competitive series. There were many and many drivers that eventually even made it to F1. You know, Stefano Modena, um, for example. There were many, and you managed to finish pretty good in your 3 years. Second overall, another second, and a third. What was the biggest lesson that you learned from these years?
No, that's right. In that time, Formula 3 in Italy was really competitive and very, and we had also a lot of drivers was racing for, because I remember in some track like Magione, like Varano, that was a very small track, we have free heat and semi-final and final. So we had at least 60 cars with 60 drivers racing in a weekend. So if you won something from that, for sure was a big target for us. And as you tell before, we had in that time a lot of drivers that we racing against that finally was in Formula One, like you say, Mimo for sure. Mimo comes later than me, but I had Stefano Modena, Nicola Larini, Marco Piccella, you know, Fabrizio Barbazza, Ivan Capelli, many others. So it was really very competitive. I had my best remembers from that, because it was 3 years, but 3 years was immediately competitive, because in the first or second race in the 84, my second race in my life in Formula 3, I scored the pole position. And in the first year I make the Formula 3, I was fighting for the championship till the end of the season. So for me, it was really very, very good. Unfortunately, I didn't won the Italian championship, because, as you told, I was second 2 times and third 1 time. But fortunately, I finished first in the European champion. Was not a championship, was a Coupe d'Europe, like you know, one race from the 6 better drivers of all the nation in Europe. We make the first one in Paul Ricard in 85, and I won. I did the full score, because I was in pole position. I scored the fastest lap, and I won the race in front of Tommy Danielson and Nicola Larini. Walker Weidler was there. Other Formula One drivers, Mauricio Gugelmin, many other, Yannick Dalmas was there. So many other drivers that come in Formula One. And the second year in 86, I finished second in the European Cup in Imola, just behind Stefano Modena. And best, so I mean, I didn't win the Italian championship, but I scored an European championship in 85, so it was great for me.
Yes, this was the inaugural European Formula 3 Cup you referred to in 85, in which you said it yourself, you absolutely dominated against pretty good competition. There, as you said yourself, there was not many nobodies. But as I read, that also gave you a super license that allowed you to compete in Formula One in the future. What did you think of it at that moment when you learned of it?
Oh, I was really very happy. It was something like my dream start to come true, you know. But I was also I was confident for sure, but really a little bit worried, because finally I had the super license, but I hadn't a real contact in Formula One. And you know, in that time, you had a super license just if you won some races, important races like Europe Cup or something else. So I had in my mind that I had to be in Formula One in the same year or in the year after, because after that I risked to lose the opportunity, you know. So that's because I was a little bit worried. But fortunately, in '86, just the year after, after '85, when I won the cup, the Euro Cup, my bigger target was to be in Formula 3000. But I haven't sponsored, I haven't money enough to make the season. So I decided to stay again in Formula 3. It was good decision because I finished again second in the championship, but a second in the Europe Cup. But I have my big opportunity because in the Italian Grand Prix in September '86, I had the chance to race in Formula 1 with Osella in my first Grand Prix in Formula 1. Exactly.
Yes, I would. That would be my next question. That how did that debut come about? It was kind of sudden.
But I had a good relation with Osella because my father, as I told, was a gentleman driver, and he raced with Abarth in '60, and Osella was one of the mechanics of Carlo Abarth, so he know a little bit. My father believed maybe more than me in my talent and my career because he decided to bring some money, his own money, to put and try to be in this Grand Prix because as everybody also like Senna, like also the big champion, to start in Formula 1 you have to pay. It's difficult to come and somebody call you. I mean, not now for sure, but also in my time was a little bit difficult. So he decided to invest and say, okay, Osella, to invest for this race. I was lucky, I was good, I was talented, I don't know, but everything was, comes in the right side in that weekend. And finally, I start for a race. But, it was really funny because I make the deal the Wednesday before the race. The first day, I did the seat in the pit of Monza, and Friday morning, I come in the free practice. So I never test the car, I never drove a car, and I'm speaking about the Formula 1 in '86 was with the Turbo era. So 1,000 horsepower, qualifying tires, a lot of things that was difficult for a young driver. But I never had any test. I just jump in the car in the Friday morning, make the free practice, and I don't know, everything was going well. In fact, Osella, he won me for the year after because in '87 I did all the season with them.
Yes, and you did good enough to impress, I guess, Osella, and you got a full-time seat for 1987. Then you proceeded to start 14 out of 16 races, but you only finished one race the whole year. The rest that you qualified for were all retirements. Why was that anomaly in the results?
But we raced with a very old car, with a really old engine. Was the Turbo Alfa Romeo 8-cylinder that was 3 or 4 years old. We don't have enough money. We had also in the '87 new rules because the Formula 1 in '87 make rules to have 3.5 bar pressure of a turbo and 190 liters of fuel on board. So no refueling, nothing. We know that the Alfa Romeo was drinking too much for that. I know that I have no chance to finish a race, but was my chance to prove myself or to prove to the Formula 1 world that I was good enough to have a real car. And in fact, we start, for example, here in Monaco, I did my best race because I started in the first 15 position. That was something incredible for an Osella. And I was running for the first part of the race, first half of the race, I was basically in the first 10 position in front of McLaren of Stefan Johansson or in front of Benetton of, I don't remember, was Nannini or somebody else. So I did really very well in that position, and in other races. For sure, was not a car able to finish race, because the fuel consumption problem, but was good enough to prove me and to prove to the Formula 1 world that I was good enough to have a real and a fastest car like I had in '88.
You had, as you said, in Monaco and another performance that caught the eye of media was in Imola, and these two performances were noted in the reports at the time.